If you are listening to this, you probably believe that the state, however large or small, is a necessity to ensure the peaceful coexistence of all in society, with the alternative being chaos, or, colloquially, anarchy. I am here, however, to tell you that this is an inversion of the truth, that the state is the real decivilizing force, and anarcho-capitalism, in its true sense, would be a vast improvement from where we are today. Firstly, anarchy simply is the antithesis of legal authoritarianism, the latter stating that law is determined by an authority's say-so. The anarchist believes that law is not arbitrary, that some guy saying, "This is the law because I has power," is wrong. Thus, to the extent that the anarchist believes in laws as a necessity, he is in favor of objective law. This stance of law being objective is important, since the whole point of law is to resolve conflicts correctly, which requires that the truth be pursued, lest falsehood be accidentally lent in, and decisions be made on false pretenses. Truth being singular, as can be proven by the query, "Do you exist?" legal systems must adhere to the laws of logic, and the law of non-contradiction most especially. Since legal authoritarianism necessarily permits breaches of law's objectivity, while legal anarchism absolutely does not, the latter is the only one which can have a consistent, truthful, proper legal system. Secondly, anarchism only provides what law is not. It cannot explain what the law may be, which is where anarcho-capitalism comes in, which elaborates that legality falls along the lines of aggression, with aggression being the initiation of conflict. Conflicts being counter to man's survival, he must find peaceable means to resolve them in order to survive and perhaps thrive. This is where the non-aggression principle comes in, which states that aggression is criminal. This is backed by Hoppe's argumentation ethics, which shows us that inherent in the nature of argumentation or debate is non-aggression, that one doesn't try to convince the other by threatening or using violence, nor could he truly convince said other. Rather, he uses the strength of his argument to convince the other side. Thus, if one is engaging in debate, one contradicts themselves insofar as they argue for aggression, whatever the pretense. With this, the anarcho-capitalist thesis is proven. Thirdly, arguing on the grounds of the state, it has little incentive to actually make you safer. Since those in the state represent the largest possible monopoly imaginable, a monopoly on violence, they have little incentive to make you safer. Their income is guaranteed since they take it from the people by aggression via taxes, so they have no profit motive to keep them responsible, and, on a further point, as Mises identified in 1920, thus will struggle to calculate the most efficient uses of resources, especially as the state grows, since they have no idea what the people want truly. The state, thus being a parasite par excellence, it can only hamper or harm the growth of man's standards of living to the extent which it exists and interferes in man's life. To modify Bastiat's famous analogy of the broken window, if a baker was about to buy a coat, but now is forced to pay some of those funds in taxes, he is deprived of the coat he could have gotten, and is just that much worse off. The most valued usage of those funds is foregone for something of lesser import, which means the tailor loses business, which spirals out to mean that all whom the tailor would have paid now lose out, and so on. This inefficiency and movement of scarce resources to less valued ends is inherent to any state, even democratic ones, where the majority of voters, usually a minority themselves, dictates to the minority of voters, who combine with non-voters to form a majority, how their resources will be used via coercive force. It is thus by its unsound legal philosophical foundations, by the logical veracity of the non-aggression principle, and by its counterproductive economics, the state represents a regressive societal force, an impediment to man's life and prosperity, and that anarcho-capitalism is the entailed solution which will promote the growth of civilization and, by corollary, the improvement of man's life. It is important that this be followed consistently and in a principled manner, as lacking in these scruples will only lead to man's life worsening in the long run, no matter the intentions beforehand. To this effect, one should not pursue the end of the state by violent means, like revolts, riots, or revolution. Quoting Hoppe, to do so would only reaffirm the principle of compulsion and aggressive violence underlying the current system and inevitably lead to the replacement of one government or tyrant by another. One should seek to educate themselves by reading books. I recommend Rothbard's The Ethics of Liberty and Anatomy of State for the start, and watch videos. Mentis Wave and Liquid Zulu are two of the best channels here, and to perform Isaiah's job, if you're convinced, by sharing this thesis, as I have here, even in an environment where few if any might agree with you presently. This last one also helps with intellectual honesty, and promotes debate, which is necessary, as elucidated above, for man to live well. I hope this has been informative to at least someone, and wish all a good day. Farewell.